From Lonely Tree Media Studios in Ellensburg, Washington. It's the Best Lamb Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb. With me, as always, is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, everybody.
So we are live streaming on YouTube every weekend. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports, on Facebook, the Best Lamb Sports Show. That's all you have to search. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com, and please check out our all-new webpage, www.lambsports.com. It's a work in progress right now, but bear with us. It'll eventually be your one-stop shop for all things related to our show. So the first part of our show, as always, is brought to you by the Range in Yakima. And if I had that, if I had that in front of me, we could actually be talking about it right now. Hold on just a second. A little technical difficulties today because, you know what? I've been out of town. So setting this show up in a hurry, and it's one of those production things that you we'll run into eventually.
You're missing your sheet, right?
Yeah, I'm missing my stuff here. Hold on just a second.
Just a sheet of paper with the classic one. If you guys need to, you can go listen to the previous episodes. It will sound the same.
It will. It absolutely has the exact same ad copy, and you'll hear the exact same stuff. But the Range in Yakima is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. At 34,000 square feet, the Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 7. Go see our friends at the Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. The Range, educate, equip, and empower.
Woo.
Oh, yeah.
We made it. We made it.
Wow. I did not think that was going to happen.
Y'all better appreciate the Range. He had to work hard for that one.
You know what? All these ads, I would have missed them all. We would have just been sponsorless. But, it's okay. So, happy Father's Day, Parker.
Happy Father's Day.
Even though,
Is it exciting to have Father's Days? Like, are they truly exciting days?
No.
See, I kind of think they're uneventful, and I'm not like a big celebrate thing. Like, we're going golfing next weekend, but that's like the extent of the celebrating I do. Otherwise, it's usually just like a phone call that I give you. It's like, hey, happy Father's Day.
So what happens? Yeah. So what happens when you get? It becomes and my birthday being close to Father's Day, like the next week. So I get the whole birthday, Father's Day, week or 2 week, fortnight of excitement. Which we don't really do anything. So, I mean, it's not really that exciting. And I suppose if you have something planned or a big family gathering, I mean, that would be cool. We don't really do that, but there
are some people out there that take it very serious.
There are people that take it
it's
very
a
serious.
big holiday for some people, and for other people, it's like, it's just a holiday. But yeah, you're right. You're kind of hosed though. Your birthday is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I deal with the same thing with a Christmas and my birthday are very close together. So I can imagine it's kind of a similar deal where it's like, well, we want to celebrate, but you got a birthday in a few days, so let's just cool down.
Right. Yeah. So I either have to pick one thing to celebrate or the other. I don't get to celebrate both. So I can either be a father
and
or...
you should pick your birthday because Father's Day is for everyone. Your birthday is just for you.
That is correct. Me and a few other select people who share my birthday.
Yeah. No one cares about them.
I know. So... So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's okay. Father's Day is one of those things that I'm like, it happens on a Sunday. You don't get an extra day off. It's not like it's a federal holiday. So you just kind of like, yeah, it's okay. It's cool. But I could take it or leave it either way. It doesn't really matter. So, but then
Juneteenth became a holiday
right.
for Father's Day, which has been being celebrated for 150 years, but it's not an actual holiday.
Right.
Wait, is Father's Day always on a weekend?
Yeah, it's always on Sunday, just like Mother's Day.
Oh, I wonder why that is.
And here's your interesting trivia note, just by the way. It used to be, and it's probably not anymore because things have changed. But back in the day, Mother's Day was the day of the year when the most telephone calls were made. Telephone calls was number one on Mother's Day. That's the biggest day of the year in the United States.
Father's Day was the least.
Father's Day was the largest day of collect phone calls. So I love you, Dad, but pay for this call.
You're receiving a collect call from your baby boy.
So there's an interesting statistic for everybody. Just that, that's how you treat your dad, pretty much. Yeah,
that's great.
I love you, but I really don't want to pay for this call. Anyway, all right, let's get moving. So we got some stuff to talk about. PGA Tour golf, latest MLB news, the NBA bubble. Maybe we'll see. MLS soccer, National Women's Soccer League's playing, Bundesliga, Korean baseball, NASCAR, English Premier League. Lots of stuff coming back. Lots of stuff is getting ready. Today is the Father's Day show for us. We have a list of some of the greatest father-son and/or father-daughter duos in sports history. We'll talk about that a little bit. And let's go to our trivia question. Trivia question, because it's a special Father's Day trivia question. Brought to you by Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. The winery at Broken Boulder Vineyard is open 12 to 6 Wednesday through Monday. Head out there and join them for a relaxing glass on the patio with stunning views of Mount Adams. The downtown tasting room is also open Thursday through Sunday from 12 to 6. The Vineyard tasting room is at 3827 Fletcher Drive. Downtown address is 210 Oak Street. To find out more, order wine, go to stabenstone.com, email them info@stabenstone.com, or call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. Staben Stone, wines with personality. Trivia question for today. I know you're excited because I went deep.
The one last week was pretty good too.
So it is not easy to find father-son trivia questions. I'm just going to let you know that. For sports. I mean, you can find a lot of stuff, but anyway, so here's the trivia question for this week. Who are the only father-son duo to each win Rookie of the Year awards in their respective sports?
Oh. So they play two different sports?
And that's the only clue you get. It's in the question. Built into the question is that, yes, they played two different sports.
Okay.
But they each won a Rookie of the Year award. So this is, at the end of the show, we'll tell you the answer. Think about it for a little bit. If you know the answer, you can tweet it. At Lamm Sports, or you can email it. I don't know that I'll check the email between now and then, but it would be fun to see somebody participate and let us know what the answer is. So, that being said, it's out there. Now, today's news and notes, we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of stuff here. So, I'm going to go through it really fast. Everybody pay attention. It's going to hit you quick, I promise. Hold on a second here. I got to find the right thing. So, PGA Tour today was at the RBC Heritage at Harbortown Golf Links in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Webb Simpson shot a final round 7 under 64 to win by one stroke over Abraham Ancer. That just finished up about 30 minutes ago. NASCAR was racing. The NASCAR Cup Series was supposed to be racing at Talladega Super Speedway today for the Geico 500. The race has been postponed until tomorrow due to inclement weather. Last Sunday's Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway went late, also thanks to some weather. Denny Hamlin in the number 11 Toyota was your winner, and Chase Elliott was second. Ryan Blaney finished third. That race tomorrow is on Fox. You can watch it there. And we have the German Bundesliga on Tuesday. FC Bayern defeated Werder Bremen 1-0 to secure their 8th straight Bundesliga title. That's all you really need to know about that because it's done now. They've got one more week to play, but it doesn't matter. They got a champion.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Would you even play?
It depends. Some of the teams are still playing for European Cup slots.
Oh, okay. So there's still a function to playing.
There's some teams. So if you're at the top of the table and you're fighting for whether it's a UEFA Championship, UEFA Champions League spot or a Europa League spot, that's a kind of a big deal. If you're at the bottom and you're fighting against relegation to stay in the Bundesliga and not get relegated to the second league, that's a big deal. But there's about 10 teams, 12 teams in the middle that have nothing to play for. Zero. And so you need to come out and play because, I mean, if you're playing somebody has a chance to do something, but you don't have a chance to do anything, and you just give up, you're handing it right to them. I think that's not necessarily the right sportsmanship kind of thing. But I think you'd see a lot of players who didn't have anything to play for just decide not to play or take a day off. Yeah. So I think that's a thing. It would be nice to think that everyone competed hard all the time, but I don't think that's true. If that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Korean baseball, the NC Dinos remain 3.5 games ahead of the rest of the league with a 28-12 record, despite losing 3 out of the last 4 games. The LG Twins and the Doosan Bears are tied for second. They're both at 25-16 on the year. The Bears swept the Twins in their 3-game series this weekend. Those games are on ESPN, and they're super duper early in the morning Pacific Daylight Time. And when I say that, I literally woke up, could not sleep, and at 2 in the morning, I watched the Doosan Bears play the LG Twins in a game that ended 18-10. That was the final score. Ooh. And there was at the end of the first at the end of the second inning, it was 11 to 1. No, it was 11 to yeah, it was like 11 to 4 or something like that. And neither pitcher could really throw a strike. And when they did, it got whacked, and it was not great baseball, but it was entertaining. I will tell you that, considering it was 2 in the morning. Anyway, but it's really early in the morning. If you want to watch a baseball game, they play replays on ESPN also during the day. You can catch them a little bit later than that. But if you want to see it live, it's at about 2 in the morning. Pretty exciting. All right, so English Premier League came back this week. And table leaders Liverpool fought a 0-0 draw with Everton, which means that they'll have to wait a little bit longer to clinch the league title. They hold a 23-point lead over Manchester City and need just a tie in their next match with Crystal Palace on Wednesday to secure the championship. They still have 8 games left to play, but they're going to wrap up this thing.
How much of a dud is that? People have been waiting for months to find out if they're going to do it, and then their first game back, they go 0-0.
Yeah. Well, they got a point, but it wasn't enough. If they won, they would have won. And for the year, Liverpool is 20. They have 27 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties in 30 games. Yeah, they're almost unbeatable. They're really, really good. So, what you're looking forward to is a Champions League, UEFA Champions League next year that has Liverpool and Bayern in it, and that could be exciting. So,
so Bayern can destroy them.
I don't think so. Liverpool's really good. I don't know. We have to see. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. But it's just fun to watch really good teams play each other. It makes for a lot more interesting.
That's fair.
Yeah. So that's all the news and notes that I have. It is Father's Day.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about the father-son duos in sports that are out there. And I actually have a father-daughter duo on my top 10. I do. So I'm going to run down through the top 10 that I came up with, and then you can tell me if you had them on your list, if you agreed, and then when I'm done, you can tell me the ones that I missed or I should have put on here, and I'll probably agree with you. But
sure,
yeah. But let's do that. So let's start with number 10. Okay. Because I don't want to give away the goods right off the bat, but let's start with number 10.
Okay.
I feel, and this is going to come with an asterisk, so bear with me. Number 10 is Barry and Bobby Bonds.
Okay.
So Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds are 2 of only 6 Major League Baseball players ever to steal 300 bases and hit 300 home runs in their career. Both father and son have done that, which is amazing. But does it come with a performance-enhancing drug asterisk next to it? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But his dad didn't do it. Barry's dad, Bobby Bonds, did it without. Barry might have been a little wind-aided, but I don't know. He's still a great ball player. He was still a really good ball player even before he got big and hit the ball just a little further. But anyway, that's a good combo. I think Bobby Bonds was one of those players that was a really good Major League Baseball player for a long time, and he deserves to be on the list, despite the fact that his son kind of tainted it just a hair. So
fair enough.
Okay, so my number 9 slot is going to be the Curry family. So
yep, they're on my list.
Del Curry, Steph Curry, and Seth Curry are Seth. How about this though, Seth? So they're really, this is a really, really good basketball family. Let's admit, these 3 guys, all guards, all fantastic players, really. And maybe I could put them higher up on my list, and I might have done that had Del Curry had a much more, what's the word I'm looking for, decorated NBA career. Because really right now the one you're looking at is Steph.
Oh, yeah. Steph has made it. I don't think people are talking about Del Curry without Steph Curry.
Correct. No,
but
absolutely not.
Because Steph Curry did well, now everyone's kind of reminded of, well, he comes from a lineage, and Del was the career leader in points for the Hornets when he retired.
That's correct.
So, but he didn't have big NBA, he didn't set NBA records. He set team records and things like that. So I think that's what you mean. Like, he didn't quite have the accolades that other people have.
Right. It wasn't nearly. It wasn't. Yeah. They didn't win any championships. It wasn't. It was a different time period. Hay was eclipsed by bigger stars when he was in there, but he was a very, very solid, very, very good point guard, and you can see where the kids get it. It's clearly a given talent. So
you can shoot.
Right. All right. So that's at number 9. My number 8 is my father-daughter duo, and so this is Karl Malone and his daughter Cheryl Ford. Karl Malone did not win an NBA title. Cheryl Ford has already won an NBA title, or WNBA title, and together, I mean, this has got to be one of the top scoring basketball duos, family duos in history, because Karl Malone scored a lot of points.
Yeah, he did pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he did. So that's my one father-daughter. It is really hard, by the way, and no offense. Not because I didn't want to find them. I was trying to find a lot of really good, super successful father-daughter combos, and there just aren't as many out there as you would think. I mean, women's sports been out there for a long time, and I was looking at every sport, and I just couldn't find that one where I go, yeah, but
there's the other big one, which is Muhammad and Layla Ali. But even then, Layla's success is nowhere near level of success, and Muhammad had all those fantastic things that he did, during his time being a what is that phrase for when you he abstained from the military? What was that called? Conscientious objector.
Yeah, conscientious objector. Yeah,
that's what he was. So
yeah, but I almost put him on there. I almost put them on this list. Other than the fact that Layla Ali has, I mean, how many other women boxers when she started boxing were there? I mean,
there weren't that many, and even then, she wasn't that dominant.
Right.
She has a big name.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, and you could put anybody on this list whose kid has played or parent has played a sport, a professional sport, if the other one was so dominant.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could say,
yeah.
Like if Michael Jordan's son went in the NBA and got 1 point. Right?
Yeah.
Now they're the top scoring father-son duo of all time.
That would be actually kind of funny. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with LeBron's son, because he's going to make his way to the NBA. It's going to happen.
Oh, sure.
So I'm kind of waiting to see if he ends up being good, like if he goes to college or if he makes the jump to the NBA, and if he does either of those things, is he successful? Is he going to be the next chosen one, or really that's got to be tough being a kid and knowing that no matter how good you are, you might never be as good as your dad.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, that's a big shadow to live under when you just say,
big.
Yeah, I mean, this is the greatest NBA player of all time, and now I'm going to be what? How good am I going to be? And if I don't even
if
come
I'm not
close,
the greatest, it's not good.
Right, if I don't even come close, what are they going to say? Oh, he's,
He's a bust. He's all right.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about the Cheryl Ford pick is that most people don't even realize she's Karl Malone's daughter. I didn't realize it prior to doing all the research. So it was like, oh, wow, that's neat that they're related. And she's fantastic. Right. And he was fantastic. Right. So it was nice.
Yeah, that's a good. So we're going to move along. So that brings us to number 7, and that's the Alomar family. So in baseball circles, this is 3. So this is father and 2 sons. So Sandy Alomar played in the Major League Baseball. He's also a coach for many, many years. His sons, Roberto Alomar, and Sandy Alomar Jr., both were American League All-Stars. They played on the same All-Star team together one season when Junior was in Cleveland and Robbie Alomar was in Baltimore. Fantastic baseball tradition. They played for many, many years. Roberto Alomar is probably the one you're going to remember if you're a baseball fan. Played a lot of years for, Toronto, and I think he played for the Padres, and then he played for the Orioles. But a tremendous second baseman, good hitter, had good speed, good fielder. Anyway.
I appreciate that.
That's 2 sons. So when both your sons are doing it right, then you did something well. So
taught them well.
Right, that's what I think. All right, we're moving on. So the next family, we're going to get into some interesting families here. Are you ready?
Yep.
So the next family is the Petty family of NASCAR.
Ooh, okay.
NASCAR fame. So everyone knows Richard Petty, the king.
Yep.
Right? But do you realize his dad Lee Petty was one of the founders of NASCAR? Actually helped set it all up and then taught his son everything he knows, and then Richard Petty goes out and becomes the king, and then you have Kyle Petty, his son, and then Adam Petty, his son. So
what a lineage.
you've got 4 generations worth of drivers that have raced in NASCAR and won a lot of races. And yeah, most of them were Richard Petty, right? But still, I think when you have it going on for 4 generations, that is the family business. That becomes a real deal. All right, we're gonna move along. The Hull family. So this is Bobby Hull and his
The
son,
hockey players.
and his son Brett Hull. Bobby Hull played for the Chicago Blackhawks for many, many years, and Brett Hull played mostly for the St. Louis Blues for many, many years. Two probably of the best hockey players you'll ever see. Back in the day, Bobby Hull was the Golden Jet. That's what they called him.
The Golden Jet.
The Golden Jet. Anyway, but he was. They were both fantastic players, goal scorers, just terrific people. Anyway, if you ever get a chance to watch some old hockey, watch yourself some Chicago Blackhawks hockey. You'll see exactly what I mean. You'll realize how good he was. If you're a hockey fan at all, you know immediately what I'm talking about. So, yeah, these are 2 fantastic players. So we're moving along. We're moving along. The Earnhardts.
Yeah, I kind of saw that one come. They're on my list.
Earnhardts are in here, and this is number 4 on my list. So Dale and Dale Jr. obviously, and Dale Jr. wasn't quite as successful as his father, the Intimidator, but still very successful in his own right as a NASCAR racer. And Dale Earnhardt is a legend. So yeah, I mean I think you can't go wrong with putting them on here. So.
And he did a good job, despite never being as successful as his father. He did a good job kind of carrying the torch, though.
Yeah, and I don't think it really bothered him or worried him. I mean, he was successful enough, and he was good enough to be one of the top drivers in NASCAR. So I don't think it really was one of those things where he was worried about living up to his dad, because I think he's already accepted that fact that this is my dad, and I can't do that.
I'm not that guy.
I am not going to be that good. I'm not. I mean, maybe one day if I keep practicing, but it's probably not going to happen. Yeah. So the Earnhardts are on here, and then one more racing family. We're going to get into the Andrettis.
Ooh.
So Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, and Marco Andretti,
many Andrettis.
All IndyCar racers, and Mario Andretti is one of the best IndyCar racers of all time. He's one of the best drivers, and if you watch old Indy 500 films, you'll see him winning and just winning IndyCar races. He was one of the best drivers. I actually got to watch him race in Portland at Portland International Raceway on an IndyCar tour back when they had an IndyCar series races. Anyway, that was in the late 80s. But anyway, so it's another tradition. There are 4 of them in that family that actually race IndyCars, and so it is a family business, just like the Pettys, just like the Earnhardts. And while it's Formula One, and we don't have a Formula One series, or not Formula IndyCar racing series anymore, we don't have that league anymore, so you don't get to see that version. The only time you ever see it is at the Indy 500 when they run it. So doesn't quite get the popularity that NASCAR gets around here. So
okay,
so that's on there. So now we're up to our top 2.
Top 2.
And you know who I haven't said yet, so you probably know who's coming. So in the second slot are the Griffeys.
The Griffeys.
Senior and junior. Ken Griffey, Sr., played many, many years in Major League Baseball, mostly for the Reds, in the big part of that Big Red Machine with Pete Rose and Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, all those guys. And then Junior was probably the most talented left-handed. I don't want to qualify it by him being left-handed, but he had this super smooth left-handed swing that was it was like silk. When he'd go up there and he'd swing the bat, it wasn't herky-jerky. It was no, I'm trying to hit the ball. It was just this big, long whoosh.
It seemed effortless.
Yeah, effortless. And the ball just crushed. He just crushed the ball. He had speed. He has a glove. He's got an arm. He was one of those true 5-tool talents that they talk about in Major League Baseball. And he was one of those players that was just fun to watch. He looked like he was actually having fun playing baseball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, his dad's no slouch. What are you going to do? So, he's one of those guys who, your dad had a really good career, and he made him look bad. So
I was just going to say, do you think that Junior had a better career than Senior?
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like it.
And just as another trivia fact for everybody to throw out, these two are the only father-son duo to ever homer back-to-back in a game. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, played for the Mariners.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew they played, but
they played on the same team at the same time, and dad and son hit a home run each one. They hit it back-to-back
both went
homers.
yard.
Yep. So that's the only time
Incredible.
might be the only time you'll ever see that. Just so. All right, and that brings us to the number one family. I think you know who it is.
Do
I would. So it's the Mannings.
Oh, yeah. That's a good family.
It's the Mannings. So Archie Manning played a lot of years on some really bad New Orleans teams. At quarterback.
He did his time.
He did. But he was really successful. He was a successful quarterback. They were just a terrible football team. And being part of an expansion thing when they came out. And anyway, but his sons, obviously everyone knows Peyton and Eli, and each of them have 2 Super Bowls. There's 4 Super Bowls there in that family from the kids. And Peyton Manning retired as, maybe one of the top, 5 quarterbacks of all time? Would you probably say?
Man, I would say it, but I know immediately that I'm biased. He won a Super Bowl for my Broncos. He played at Tennessee. I'm a fan of Tennessee, so I have a lot of reasons to be biased. But yeah, I would say he's probably top 5 all time.
Yeah, I would think so. Eli was no slouch at quarterback. I think he got a little bit of a rough go of it in New York with the Giants.
They did no favors for that man.
But I will tell you this: that is his own fault. He could have been a Charger. So
yeah, if he didn't hold out.
That's my only grudge against Eli. That and the fact that he never looks like he's enthused to play football.
Yeah,
he has that facial expression where it looks like
he care less.
I don't know if I really want to be here. Anyway, so that's my list of top 10. Who'd I miss?
Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, you missed a doozy of a family, the Matthews.
Yeah,
with Clay Sr., Clay Jr. and Bruce, Clay the Third and Casey. There's just football players galore.
Yeah. I thought about the Matthews family. The problem was I would have had to divide it into 2 families because Clay and Bruce are, you know what I mean? There's 2 separate families. So
I'm calling it one tree.
Okay, one family tree. Well,
it's one family tree.
If we go with that, then yeah, okay. All right.
Another good one is the Brown family, which has some of the best names in football. So John Brown, who was Mr. Universe back in 1982 and 81. Mr. World. He had 3 kids, Equinemius, Osiris, and Amon-Ra. The St. Brown kids. That's another great family. They're not necessarily the best. Yeah, and some of them most of them are young now, but they're fresh football players and things like that. But those are great names.
Those are great names. I'm not gonna lie. Those might be the best names in football right now for sure.
They're going on the list. Just name alone.
Okay.
I can't walk away from that. Oh my gosh, sorry, I have to pull my slide. So Kobe and Joe Bryant. So Joe was not all that impressive, but he did put together a 17-year NBA career.
Yeah.
And he played a little in Italy. I mean, Kobe obviously clearly overshadowed him, but that guy set the path for Kobe to be great. So that's one that I had on my list that I thought was pretty good. Cecil Fielder and Prince Fielder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both with 1,000 RBIs. The only 2 people, the only father-son duo to hit 50 home runs in a season.
Right.
So that was definitely, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's pretty unique. I did have to omit one because of our trivia question.
Oh, yeah?
I had it on there.
Did you really?
I did, so I had to omit it.
Oh,
so I will leave that one off, but that also gives away that I know the answer.
That's okay, though. That's okay.
But I did my homework, so technically I cheated.
There you go.
Ken Norton Sr. and Ken Norton Jr., boxer and football player.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool one.
Okay.
I didn't really find a ton of other people that I saw them just jazzed me up, and I was like, oh yeah, those people. But I did have Bobby Hull. I did have the Bonds people. I was still thinking about them. So there's a lot of good ones. And then finally, my last one was Michael Thompson and Klay Thompson. Again, Michael Thompson not nearly as successful as his son, but still impressive.
Michael had a pretty good career. He played in Portland and L.A. with the Lakers during Showtime, and I mean, I get all that. Those are all good. I had a couple other ones that didn't make my cut too. I could tell you those 2 right now, like the Howie Long.
I thought about the Long family too.
Chris Long, Kyle Long.
Yeah.
I have the Berry family: Rick Berry, Brent Berry, John Berry.
Well, I did not have them on my list.
Yeah, they were I mean, Rick Berry was a really good NBA basketball player, and Brent Berry wasn't bad himself. So, anyway, yeah, I don't know. Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers. You could name some people.
Ooh.
You could name some people. There were a lot.
Austin Rivers, he's one of those guys. He just ticks me off. I watch that kid play basketball, and I'm so frustrated with him all the time. I'm not in favor of putting him on the show anymore.
I think there's a guy like that on in every sport, in every NFL or NBA. Whenever you look at a league, you go, there's one guy that just does that to you. You go, oh, that guy.
Oh, that's next week's show already.
Right.
Per league? Who's that guy
who's
that
the guy?
Gets under your skin?
I like that. That's going to be a good. That's a good topic.
Who pisses you off in what sport?
We can talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, I could stand on a pedestal and look down at somebody real fast.
we might not even get through the whole show. We might just start with that, and 3 hours later we'll be on the first topic, the first people still, because they.
I can hear it already. Welcome to the show, The Range. All right, now this guy.
Yeah, when you've got 20 or 30 years of built up anger at somebody, you're like, oh, that guy.
Gotta get through this.
Yeah. All right. So hope everyone enjoyed that special little Father's Day thing. We can do the same thing on Mother's Day when it comes around. So just FYI, we got a lot of time to prepare for that one. So next May, be ready for that show, the Mother's Day show. I don't know how well that's going to go over. I don't know what we're going to find in that one, but we're going to.
There's a lot of time.
There's
a lot of time. We can dig deep.
That's true, and we'll have to. So we're gonna move to the second half of our show. So the second half of our show brought to you by Boss Kitty Yarn. Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns. Go to bosskittyshop.com for your yarn, notions, and BK merchandise, or pick up a bosskittyshop.com gift card as a special treat for our listeners. They're offering a one-time use coupon for 15% off your next purchase. Just use the coupon code LAMMSPORTS at checkout. That's bosskittyshop.com. Boss Kitty, yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. So, we got a couple of little topics to talk about that are interesting. Some of them are COVID related, and that's still happening. It's still a thing. We can't quite, we can't shut it out. It's still happening. There's flaring up in certain states, and it's going to cause some grief with some sports. I know it is with the restart of some certain leagues, but we're going to talk about that right now. First thing we want to talk about is the WNBA. They announced Monday that they reached an agreement with the Players Union on a 22-game regular season and standard playoffs that will run July through October. They're expected to be played at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, which has 4 gigantic full-size basketball courts, indoor basketball. It's going to be great. Anyway, the list. So the deal includes 100% of their salaries. They're getting paid their whole salary for the year. And
pretty good deal.
I think that's a fantastic incentive, and it was more. They had to negotiate. They had to hammer that out. That was one of their sticking points. That's what the players wanted, but all the players are going to want that. When you go to work, you want to get paid. So, but to hammer that out, basically saying this is a show of good faith, and it'll make the next time we do have a bargaining agreement, it will lead to concessions on the other side. And this is how you do this. This is a little give and take. You give a little, we get a little, and Major League Baseball needs to start learning from this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Doesn't mean, and just because they've ratified it doesn't mean all the players are coming back. Players have until this Thursday the 25th, to let their teams know if they're going to opt out. They can actually opt out and say, I don't want to participate, if they don't want to. As of now, no fans are expected to be allowed at the games. The 2020 season was supposed to start on May the 15th. It would have been about, I think it's 34 games that they play. Normally. So it's a little shorter season, but they're going to have playoffs. It's going to be good. And it's one more thing for us to get to talk about here in about a month. So we're going to get busy. By the end of July, we're going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of stuff. So anyway, I thought it was great that they're coming back. I'm looking forward to the WNBA. And again, we were looking forward to see former Oregon Duck Sabrina Ionescu play some basketball.
I cannot wait to see Sabrina play some basketball. I got hosed out of missing a title.
Yeah.
We got screwed out of a title by COVID.
Maybe. Yeah.
COVID, well, I'm guessing what it is. You do hear all the buzz around the Oregon Ducks football program? People are excited.
Yes.
Other coaches are saying, this is a title team.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. We're going to get hosed by COVID out of titles in both women's basketball and football. again. Just like we got hosed by the refs against North Carolina in the 2014 Final Four or 2017 Final Four, whatever that was.
It might be. Yeah, I'm not like. I really want to watch this football season. I really want to see it. I want to see if the defense that they're going to put out is going to be as good as people are telling me the defense is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't. I have a hard time equating Oregon with defense. I just do because I've been watching it for way too long. But
seeing Sabrina will be a consolation.
Oh yeah, she's
within the WNBA.
She's going to light that league up. She's going to light.
Gosh, I hope so. Yeah, I hope she gets there and she's still 25 points a game, 10 rebounds, 10 assists.
She is super talented. She's going to have more talented people around her. It's just going to make her better. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Her assist numbers are going to go up even if her points go down.
Oh, absolutely. She's going to be one of those top point guards because she can pass the ball. She'll find someone open. Drive and dish, that kind of thing. Yeah, she'll be great at it. You get people that can actually score. I mean, not that the other people on the Duck women's team couldn't score, but in the NBA, now you've got people that can score. You're going to dish it out to somebody who is a great shooter every time they touch the ball. So, anyway, Major League Baseball. We got to still talk about Major League Baseball. I don't want to.
Can they just get it together already?
But we got to. So, Major League Baseball players have decided not to vote today on the league's 60-game proposal. Commissioner Rob Manfred made 2 late tweaks to the offer for the 60-game season because they said no to the 70-game proposal that was countered by the players. So they're still working on 60-game proposal. Anyway, on Saturday, the executive board met and the players originally planned to delay voting on the proposal until they collected data on coronavirus testing after several outbreaks at training facilities and in major league cities. All MLB training camps have temporarily closed after multiple teams reported positive tests Friday. So that makes it even harder. That adds a whole nother level of if they decided, oh, well, we want to play and we do this, but now are they gonna? Would you feel comfortable as a major league player saying, oh, we're going to go to this neutral site or we're going to go wherever and play baseball, even though in that city the coronavirus positive tests are on the rise? And there may have been one on the team, but we've isolated him.
Man, the thing about it is that the coronavirus is a little unpredictable. Right. Like, it might just come into you and leave you just like that. And you never know. It also might put you in the hospital for a month. You just don't know. So the question really becomes is how scared are you of coronavirus? Right. I would think that healthy individuals who have nutritionists and specialists and things like that shouldn't be too frightened of it. If you get sick, you're probably going to be sick for a week or so. It's not the end of the world. But if you have any sort of medical condition, especially anything involving your lungs or your respiratory system, yeah, you probably have a good reason to, not want to go to those places or be around those teams that have had known outbreaks. Right. So I can see the apprehension. If a player says, I don't want to do it, I don't want to risk my health or my family's health that I have to go home to at the end of a day or whatever, there's no way to argue against it. No. Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
And I think you have to let the players opt out if they want to. Like the WNBA is saying,
they're doing great with that, yeah.
You have to say, I feel like it's too big a risk, or maybe someone in my family has respiratory issues and it's going to cause a problem. They're at risk. I don't want to put them in that position, even though I know what you're saying. They're going to be in a bubble. They're going to be tested. It's going to be this and that. You can't prevent someone from getting it. You just can't.
What happens when the guy testing, who gives out the testing, has it?
Right. Yeah, and he didn't know he had it.
He didn't know he had it, and he gave it to 20 people.
Because you absolutely are hearing stuff about being asymptomatic right now. And okay, so you don't have any symptoms, but your nose swab comes back positive. Well, okay, now what? Right? Who all did you touch? Where did you touch them? When were you in contact? Is it just your family, or were you out at a restaurant? Did you, you just don't know. And there's so much the contact tracing and all that they have to do to figure out where you might have spread it. And for me, it's such a nebula of stuff that, there's no way to see through. It's like a fog,
Yeah.
So you really can't, I don't know.
And so with that in mind, you're right. If a player doesn't want to be a part of it, doesn't want to try and fight through that fog or those complications or all that unknown, fine. You don't have to. You shouldn't be punished as a player for not wanting to take that risk.
Right. And that leads us to Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer's plan to restart on July the 8th with the MLS Is Back tournament might be in jeopardy a hair. 2 Atlanta United players and 1 Inter Miami FC player have tested positive for coronavirus. Per the Atlanta United spokesman, their 2 unidentified players are asymptomatic and are in isolation. It's happening. But you heard baseball. We just talked about baseball. They're closing down their training facilities because of positive tests. It's in soccer right now. You've seen it already in the NBA. At the beginning of the NBA season, or at the beginning of the COVID outbreak, it happened. I mean, everybody's going to have it. NFL, Dallas Texans, the Houston Texans, and the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they used to be the Dallas. Anyway, all of that is. There's positive tests everywhere, and I don't think you can keep it away. I think it's going to be near you. It's just a matter of how well you protect yourself and how well the other people are willing to help protect you. Wearing masks and staying away and doing the things that they need to do.
Right.
It's going to be a mess, I think. But MLS they're still on schedule, and for that matter, the Women's Soccer League also set to kick off here in about 2 weeks. They have a tournament coming back as well, and they're going to do the exact same thing that MLS is doing pretty much. So the Portland Thorns will be in action. I think it's July the 8th that they come back. So that's all coming back. It's all going to be there. We're going to talk about it when it happens, and we'll let you know if it doesn't happen. Why not? But I don't know. I feel like there's so much. There's still some. I don't know.
I think part of the problem is that when you hear 6 people on this team tested positive, your mental image or the general public's mental image is that there's 6 guys laid up in a hospital dying.
Right? On a ventilator. Yeah.
On a ventilator. Yeah. They're all struggling. It's a real crisis. But when you think about it, most of the time it's like, okay, no, you have 6 guys who tested positive. Now they just have to stay at home and play Call of Duty for the next 2 weeks because they weren't experiencing symptoms before. They're not experiencing symptoms now. They just have to be at home for a little bit. It is kind of that simple for some people. I've said a couple times to people I know that I'm pretty sure I had this back in January.
Yeah.
I had this 2 weeks where I was super sick and felt terrible. And, obviously there's no way to know. They weren't ever testing for it then. How could you possibly know? at that time in January, they weren't talking about it really that much.
And that brings us to more things that, like right now. I mean, you know what? Hold on. Let's hold on to that thought. We'll talk about this at the end. We're gonna talk about this at the end. We'll save Corona for the last because you know what? You always should finish it off with a Corona. So we're gonna
thank you for Corona for sponsoring us.
Right. So second part of soccer, Bruce Arena, the former U.S. men's national team head coach. He was on TV in a video interview, and he was asked about kneeling in Major League Soccer. He also is a coach for the New England Revolution. Asked about kneeling in MLS and the national anthem in general. He's asked by Taylor Twellman, who's on ESPN. He's one of their soccer analysts. And here's what he had to say about kneeling and the national anthem in general.
I think it puts people in awkward positions. We don't use the national anthem in movie theaters and on Broadway, other events in the United States, and I don't think it's appropriate to have a national anthem before a baseball game, an MLS game. But having said that, I want it understood. I am very patriotic, but I just think it's inappropriate. And today, it's becoming too big of an issue.
All right. So basically, what he's saying there is that nobody should be put in that position when they play the national anthem to have to make that choice. Why do we play it at the beginning of the game anyway? If we don't play the national anthem, then nobody has to take a knee and nobody has to take sides, which I agree with. In theory, why has it become tradition for us to play this national anthem? And do you think it's important that we do that?
It's become tradition because it's for the same reason that anything becomes tradition. Because our parents did it that way. So that's the way we do it. It's the way it's always been done. Tradition is this fake construct that we build to try and attach values to. So playing the national anthem shows patriotism, shows respect for so and so and so and so, but it's not played everywhere. It's not played all the time. I don't listen to it when I wake up in the morning, and I don't listen to it before I fall asleep every day. I go probably 30 days, 29 days a month without hearing the national anthem. Just don't hear it. It doesn't happen. It's not that prevalent in your life until
it's true.
Yeah, until you go to a sporting event. There's a comedian out there. I can't remember who it was, but he talks about he's looking at the crowd. He says, "I want everyone to pull out their iPhones right now. Open your Apple Music app. How many of you have downloaded the Star Spangled Banner?" He's like, "None of you. No one has it on their phone." He's like, "But you will get riled up if somebody disrespects it, but you don't even own it."
Yep.
It's just a tradition thing, and it's stupid. It doesn't really matter. I agree. Don't need it. You don't need it. It doesn't help anything. Or do it like they do sometimes and play it before everybody comes out.
And it's probably a free download.
It 100% should be.
Right. I mean, you'd think, right? So, part two of what he said, though, he said that he went on to say in Major League Soccer, most of the players that are standing on the field during the national anthem are international players. They're not even Americans. So why are you playing our national anthem for them? They could care less. He's not wrong, I don't think, in saying that. But I feel I've been to you and I. We've been to many sporting events. You always play the national anthem at the beginning of the sporting event. Every time when I was in high school and we have a game, we had the national anthem before the game. It was just a thing, and it feels weird to not have one. It's like you would introduce the starting lineups, and then you have the national anthem.
Right.
And then you have the coin toss, and then we play football, or we play baseball, or we play whatever. You know what I mean? And let's play ball. That's just the tradition of it. And so now, once you introduce the people, there's nothing to stand out there for anymore. Why would they even come on? You don't even have to come on the field and line up or do any of that kind of stuff. You just could announce the lineups and then say, let's go. It would just seem weird. I mean, to me, and I'm not saying I'm against not playing it. Absolutely, if that's what you want to do, that's fine too. I really don't care either way. It is a long, slow song the way everyone sings it. It's supposed to be an up-tempo number, by the way, people. That everyone wants to drag out that one note for whatever reason.
I have a fun story about it. So a couple years, I worked for Portland State Athletics, and a couple years ago, we were playing at Oregon, and they played the national anthem while they're playing. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to get our equipment set up. I'm trying to get our coach comms working. And from an obvious standpoint, I have to stop when the national anthem starts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to get yelled at by fans.
Yep.
And this is what happened to a couple of our players. We had a couple players who were out on the field who were not on the field. They were sitting near the benches, and they were reading like playbooks and things like that.
Yeah.
They were working. They were busy. The national anthem came on, and maybe they didn't notice it, but they were just still looking at it. They were looking at their playbooks while they were playing the national anthem. And next thing you know, from behind us, which is the donor section at U of O, I started hearing these people, "Stand up. What are you doing? Come on, show some respect." And I'm like, why does it even have to be like that? It doesn't even matter. Why do you care if somebody else does or does not stand up for the national anthem? It's a traditional thing, and you feel like people are, being mean to your values that you've attached to the symbol, which the symbol in this instance is the flag and the anthem. It's really tough.
It is, and I would ask you this for people that get angry about whether you're standing for the national anthem or not. I would ask you this: when it comes on, you're at Super Bowl Sunday, and I know not everyone in our viewing audience has tickets to the Super Bowl. When it comes when it comes on Super Bowl Sunday, and you're sitting there at home with your chili cheese dip and your wings, do you stand up?
And your veggie setup that makes it look like a stadium.
Yeah, right. Your two pieces of celery stalk that go with those wings for some reason. I have no idea why that is, but
they always give you celery. No one wants that crap.
They give you the vegetable serving to go with your ranch dip because that's healthy.
No one stands up. You're not standing up. You're not taking that time at home. And if you say that you are, you're either that kind of overly patriotic person who's already wearing the American flag shorts and American flag tank top. You're already that guy. Or you're lying. One of the two. There's no in between. You're either lying or you're too much.
And by the way, the American flag shorts and tank top that is my traditional Super Bowl apparel. So,
well, it's because your team doesn't make the Super Bowl. Ho!
Right, I have to celebrate something, so I celebrate America because my team is awful. I don't know. I feel like, we could get into a whole nother discussion of whether that's patriotic or not too, because you're really not supposed to have American flag shorts or T-shirts or tank tops or any of that kind of stuff.
Or
It is
cups or
right.
napkins or
No,
plates. You're not
it is
supposed to put it on anything.
no, it is not. You're disrespecting it by doing that, or have another color version of that said flag.
When they put the blue line down the middle for the police and make it black and
it's
white,
not
it's
okay.
a little disrespectful.
It's not okay. I mean, I get why you're doing it, but it's not okay.
The police have their own flag. They have their own shield.
Leave the flag. Leave it like it is. Don't mess with it.
And don't get me wrong, I don't think there are many things that are more beautiful than a American flag on a front porch on a nice day. I think it looks incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it means that your neighbors all hate you, like what's the point? Like what are you getting out of this?
Right.
And so if playing the national anthem means that everyone in the stadium is going to be divided and angry from the moment the game starts,
right.
What's the point? How is that helping anybody have a good time here?
Agreed entirely. I don't know. That's a great question. All of this is to say that I am extremely patriotic, and I will stand up every time the national anthem is played. I do not do it at home. I do not do it when it comes on TV. I don't do it. Who does that? Nobody does that. I mean, I know that there's probably somebody out there who does, but I'm not doing it. So.
And there's people that do it now to make a point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now they would. They'd stand up and just,
for 25 years watching football, they didn't care. And now because Cap kneeled once, now we gotta send a message.
Make everybody in my living room stand up. I invited you all over here so you'd stand up for the national anthem. All right. So let's talk about the NBA for just a minute. The NBA is still planning on coming back, but the recent surge in positive coronavirus tests in Florida probably should be a concern. Can the NBA and, more importantly, Disney, ESPN, can they keep the players sheltered enough? Are they going to have enough control over them? Will the players stay sheltered and listen to? I mean, because what I was told was they're going to be able to go in and out, right? That they could go in and out of the bubble as long as they get tested.
With testing, yeah.
Right, yeah, as long as you get tested, and that's what they were trying to say was that, as long as you test them, blah, 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 blah. You can't prevent them from getting it. So what happens is the guy goes out of the bubble, he gets it, he comes back, and he tests positive for it, let's say.
That's right.
And now you don't let him back in the bubble, right?
That's right.
Okay, so now he's just done for the season.
He goes to the quarantine housing.
They have a different tournament over there, by the way.
The quarantine tournament?
Quarantine tournament is it's a whole different level. It's like the D League, only worse. So I don't know. I feel like they can't control it, but they're going to try and control something that, I mean, what I hear from all the sources and all the people out there, they're saying that this plan to restart by the NBA is too big to fail, and even coronavirus won't bring it down. The players are behind it, but I will tell you this, there are foreign players who haven't come back. There was a June 15th deadline for those guys to come back from overseas to get tested and be in the United States, but some of them expressed concerns about coronavirus, but also about the current social climate in the United States, and that's a real thing. I mean, if you're coming from your country, why would you come over here where there's unrest and violence? And you know what I mean? That's the same thing that Americans have been saying I'm not going to that country. Look at what they're happening. They're rioting in the street. You know?
Do you think that people in like Ukraine are looking over here going, they got it pretty rough right now?
Well,
we've been bombed before, but they're doing it. They got troubles.
Maybe. So what you run into like in a country like the United States is when you have a free press and you have people showing everything that's going on. You have other countries where this stuff happens, but you don't get to see that because they're not allowed to show that to you because we don't
censor their stuff.
Yeah, we don't want the rest of the world knowing that our country sucks. We want to hide that. So I think that's what happens in the United States is that the minute that stuff happens, it's on the news. They're going to show it because it is big news. And now it's everyone sees it. And it's like, oh, look, the United States, they can't even.
They're a hot mess.
They're a hot mess. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, and we are. We're a hot mess
right now. Yeah,
it's not inaccurate. No, we pretty much been a hot mess for since Vietnam. It's pretty much been rough times.
Yeah, it's been pretty ugly. All right, let's talk about one last thing before we move along.
Okay.
The NFL. So Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is expected to sign his $31.4 million exclusive franchise tender on Monday.
Good.
The two sides have until July 15th to work out a long-term deal. The Cowboys slapped the tag on Prescott on March 18th and will need to work out a long-term deal to pay part of it in order to avoid some salary cap issues that will arise next year. So they got to work something out. Otherwise, next year they'd literally have to get rid of everyone to keep Prescott and pay him, which doesn't do you any good, in my opinion. Prescott was the 135th overall pick in the 2016 draft, fourth-round pick, and led Dallas to a 13-3 record as a rookie, throwing 23 touchdown passes and just 4 interceptions. He was named the 2016 NFL Rookie of the Year. So,
and nothing since.
I mean, last year they were 8-8, didn't make the playoffs because they just bombed against Philadelphia in that last game.
Yeah, they did. They're an average team. With him at the helm, they're an average team.
He threw for over 4,000 yards last year. He had 2 1,000-yard receivers, and he looked good throwing the football. They didn't look capable of winning as a team.
Yeah. I've watched him on 3rd and long in getting towards the red zone, 3rd and 12, something like that. So not too long. We're not talking 3rd and 20. 3rd and 12. I've watched him make poor decisions over and over again. He is not that guy. Being fair, I would even tell you that Peyton Manning in his final year was not that guy either. But prior to that, yes, Peyton was always that guy. Drew Brees is that guy. Tom Brady is that guy. Dak Prescott is not that guy. He's not even close to being that guy. And he's had a few years in the league now. It's not like it's his first year. And yes, his first year he did great. Wonderful. You came in, you were young, you invigorated a team, you brought some energy, you had one of the best O-lines ever to give you the time. It's like, and then a couple of those guys, one of those guys retired, you took a step back. Another one of those guys retired, took a little bit of a step back. It just kind of went that way for him. He's an average guy if he doesn't have above average players around him.
Right. And I'm not sure the Cowboys is making him the franchise player. Is that the thing they should have done? Or should they have been thinking, well, maybe we get more out of him if we try and trade him somewhere, or if we try and shop him. You know what I mean?
They would have been better off dumping him for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, you could.
Phillip Rivers is going to be as expensive, but he brings a lot of experience, and you have the weapons that are available to him. I mean, come on.
Could have been interesting.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. I hate it when players change teams, by the way. Just because it makes it really hard for me the next year when I start watching. I'm going, oh, yeah, I forgot that this guy who I've seen in a Charger uniform his entire life is now a Colt. And that really gets hard. So bear with me when football starts and I don't remember who plays for what. So this is going to bring us to in 2 weeks. So next week we're not going to be on a show. We're not going to have a show next week. Like Parker mentioned earlier, we are going to be playing golf. We're going to be out enjoying the sunshine. It's my birthday / Father's Day gift, and we're going to go have a good weekend. So we're going to take next weekend off, but we're going to come back on the 4th of July, actually on the 5th, Sunday the 5th, for the Best Lamm 4th of July weekend spectacular.
What a name.
I built it up a little bit there, so we're going to have to dig for some good stuff. Now we got to live up to that. But what I'm hoping that we're going to do from now is we're going to move towards NFL, college football. We're going to start talking about it once a week. Next week, I want to talk about what NFL rookies this coming season, not next week, but our next show. Yeah. What NFL rookies this coming season are you most excited to see? Who is going to be the breakout guy? Who's going to be the flop? Because there's one of each. There always is. And who is going to be the exciting thing to watch that's going to turn the team around? That's what we want to know. So next week, or not next week, but on the 5th of July, I keep saying next week. You know what?
It seems like it's going to be next week.
When you do a weekly show, you run into this problem. So Sunday, July 5th, probably at 1 o'clock Pacific time, but check your Twitter, check the Facebook. I'll put up the time for sure well beforehand, but usually at 1 o'clock. Anyway, we're going to start talking about NFL. We're going to talk about rookies. Then we're going to start talking about maybe a season preview. We'll start looking at maybe division by division, or we can go conference by conference. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to start talking NFL football. So if you love NFL football, definitely tune in or share this with someone who knows, who you know loves NFL football, and we'll start talking about it. And we're going to cover a lot of stuff before the season kicks off, because I feel like we're going to embrace NFL football this year. We are going to be on top of it. We're going to know everything there is to know about NFL by the time it starts.
Yeah, we're going to be doing pretty well.
Yeah. So, all right. Brings us to the trivia question. Let's go back to the trivia question because does anybody remember what the trivia question was? Trivia question brought to you by Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. Does anybody remember what the trivia question was? Parker, what's the trivia question?
It was who are the only two to win Rookies of the Year in their respective sports?
Right. Who are the only father-son duo to each win Rookie of the Year awards in their respective sports? And you said that you had the answer because you put this pair down to be on the list.
Well, what I had said was that that I really wanted to include it. It was one of my signature pieces, and that you ruined that for me.
Well, if I tell you the trivia question ahead of time, then it's not any fun for you because it's not a surprise. And so now if I tell
right.
now if I don't, I'm going to ruin the show. So I don't know. I'm going to no win here.
But now that I'm thinking about it, I might not have the right answer. I'm gonna spit it out there if you want me to.
Okay, so what's the answer?
Calvin Hill and Grant Hill?
Calvin Hill and Grant Hill is the answer.
Okay, did get it right.
Calvin Hill played in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Redskins, but in 1969 he was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Dallas Cowboys. Ran for about 900 and some yards and 8 touchdowns. He actually, about halfway through the season, he had 800 yards and he injured himself and had to sit out a couple games. But he had a fantastic rookie year. Grant Hill in the NBA played for the Detroit Pistons, among other teams. In 1995, he was the co-winner of the NBA Rookie of the Year. And the bonus question is, Parker.
Yep.
Who was the other co-winner of the 1995 NBA Rookie of the Year?
Say Penny Hardaway.
Oh, that's a good guess, but it's Jason Kidd.
Oh, no one likes Jason Kidd.
Yeah, Jason Kidd of the Dallas Mavericks. That was your bonus trivia for the day. All right, so our
Penny Hardaway was a good guess. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
It was a good guess. I'm not even sure he came out at that year. I can't off the top of my head. I'm not there. But we'll figure that out. A next show, the Best Lamm 4th of July Weekend Spectacular, Sunday, July 5th. Let's say it's at 1:00 right now. But again, watch your Twitter, watch your Facebook. I will post it and you'll know. We're live streaming on YouTube every weekend. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports. On Facebook, just search the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can email us, lambsports@gmail.com. Go to our website, www.lambsports.com. Leave us a message. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. It's a work in progress. It looks kind of blank. It needs some color. We're going to have to juice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we got ideas rolling, though.
But we're working on it. I mean, this is a whole work in progress because now we got a show and we got a Twitter and we've got a web page and we've got holy crud. This is getting a lot of work. It's becoming a full-time job. So I really need someone, if there's anyone out there who will do my actual work for me, that would be great so I could concentrate on this. Anyway, want to thank our sponsors again, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. Anything else you want to say before we duck out?
Yeah, wash your hands and be nice to people.
Yeah, still wash your hands, people. Don't forget. Wear the mask. Because I think
wear the mask. Yeah.
And I think in Oregon it's going to be a thing. There's some counties that are going to be mandatory here starting next week, I think.
Next week I have already been told at my work that I will have to wear a mask as long as I'm indoors.
Yeah, as long as you're inside. Yeah, you got to wear a mask. So
which I am all day.
and if you looked at I literally got, as a special treat, I got to watch Portland news this morning because
boy.
What I see up here in Ellensburg is Tri-Cities news, and if you've ever been to Tri-Cities, Washington, there is no news. So it was fun to watch Big City News because Big City News has big city stories and lots of information, and I liked it. I like watching the news. So that makes me an idiot, I know. But listen, what I saw was the statistics about the coronavirus cases in Oregon. So there are more coronavirus cases, positive cases, coming out every day right now than there were when they shut it down.
Right.
They're on
and yet they're still opening stuff up.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to reopen, but you're almost like 50% higher, the number of cases per day now than when they actually shut it down back in March. And I'm like, how do you, I know you're going to hear from the people, they're going to say, oh, well, it's because there's more testing. Well, yeah, just because there wasn't testing before didn't mean the cases weren't out there. And just because you're testing people now, I mean, the cases are still there. You just couldn't find them before. You didn't realize how bad it was before. And
yeah, if they only tested 10 people prior and one person tested positive, but now they test 100 people,
right,
and 4 people test positive, it's exponential. You can see the growth there.
Right.
1 out of 10 and what's called 10 out of 100. Those are the same ratio. So you have to kind of work that math out yourself at home and understand that the things are more tests. People are testing positive. More people, more than ever before.
I still say keep your distance. Stay home if you don't need to go out.
Yeah.
It is still fun to get out. You're right. I'm going to go out and play golf. But you know what? That is social distancing at its finest and athletic, and it's, recreational. It's fun. I'm going to get some exercise. We get to stay apart, because I'm usually on one side of the course and you're on the other. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Not going to be around people we don't know.
No, and that's right. We're not going to be around people we don't know. So I think golf is probably one of the best things you could probably do. Is only 4 people at a time. Anyway,
Sure.
So yeah, wash your hands and be nice to each other. Dang it, just be nice to people. It doesn't matter who they are.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so again, so that's our show for today. We're gonna be back on the 4th of July weekend, Saturday, July 5th. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media. Thanks for listening. We'll see everyone in 2 weeks.